we hear the line from Isaiah every Advent, "Prepare the way of the Lord," we're reminded of our desire to receive the Lord who's coming. I remember the times growing up when I would see my mom frantically trying to clean the house, and my siblings and I would look at each other and say, "Who's coming over?" Jesus longs to be welcomed into the home of our hearts anew this Christmas, but sometimes we don't feel ready. It's like the experience of it being Christmas Eve, and the house isn't quite clean, the tree's still waiting for those final touches, dessert's not made, and there's still a long list of gifts to buy from Amazon Prime at this point. Jesus was born into a world that wasn't ready to receive him. There was no room in the inn, but Mary and Joseph prepared a way. The prophet Isaiah does not say, "Prepare a perfect heart for the Lord," or "Prepare a list of good things done for the Lord." He says, "Prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the wasteland a highway for our God." Jesus enters the wasteland, those desolate and lonely places where we feel empty, and he longs to fill us with his love. All he needs is a highway to come in, for us to simply say, "Come." I live in New York, where an average of 1.6 million people commute into the city every day for work. Let's just say there's a lot of traffic, and it can take a long time, hours, to get from point A to point B. Considering all the cars that are on the roads every day, potholes are pretty commonplace, and routine road construction is vital. When it comes to the highways of our hearts, they too are in need of restoring so that Jesus can enter in more fully. We all have barriers that can block the way into our hearts. And even if we can't name them, Jesus knows what they are, and he can remove these barriers when we let him. One way is through prayer. Jesus wants to speak to you. But sometimes it can be hard, given all the noise and the traffic, the blaring music around us. Carving out set times of silence in our day, where we turn off the iPad, the cell phone, allows us to hear the Lord speak to us. Another way is by building bridges, receiving God's forgiveness through the sacrament of reconciliation, and extending forgiveness to those who have hurt us. Mercy bridges the gap and restores our peace. And the last way I'll mention is by filling up those potholes. You know, those places where we fall into negativity or get stuck in bitterness. We can do this by exercising gratitude for the blessings and the gifts that God has given us. Maybe taking time at the end of our day to notice the Lord's goodness. When Jesus comes into our hearts, he loves, he heals, and he redeems. Everything he touches is changed. We simply need to give him permission to come in. He knows you, delights in you, and longs for the unique love of your heart. So how will you prepare the way this Advent? I personally love to pray with the Old Testament during Advent, with the prophets and those who are longing for the coming of Christ. Share a comment below on how you will prepare the way this Advent.